Most people tend to switch off at 5, 6 p.m. Do you think your upbringing or how dad was perhaps in his work ethic has made you like this today?
I think so. I wanted to do well. I wanted to have money in my pocket. I wanted to make sure I'm comfortable.
I remember one of our earliest conversations, you said, Shaz, I've had no silver spoon. Wait, did you go private school?
I went to a state school just in Camden. I think that's actually kind of built me and my personality.
Kev Patel, founder of Bond Dental. Today he has 5 dental practices in the most sought after locations in London. If the clinical dentistry is not 10 out of 10, no marketing's going to work. I was like, yeah, Kev, I agree with that. And do you still live by that today?
100%. You asked me why I'm staying late and stuff, because I'm clinically working. I love my dentistry. I'm doing some amazing things and passion. So it needs to be good.
You work very hard. How has that impacted personal life?
I've had to make sacrifices. So essentially, I don't see my kids as much as a father does.
Kev, thank you for coming on Successful.
My pleasure. I'm really excited to be on your lovely podcast.
Thank you. One of my first guests. So I've known you since 2018.
Yeah, 2018.
And you're one of those people that, works behind the scenes in the shadows, silently build success up. That's why you're a great person to have on this show.
Yeah.
And through your story, I want to inspire lots more people who are looking to embark on your journey. But let's start with the beginning. Who is Kev? Where does Kev come from?
So, it's very, very simple. So I grew up here in London. I grew up actually quite locally in Camden. Came from a hardworking family, but a humble beginnings. But being in London has been amazing because you see so many people. It's inspirational. Like you see people, your neighbors, people you meet, just at school, at workplace, on the streets, and inspires you to do better and improve. And that's why I love London. And that's why I built, my kind of brand Bond Dental. So,
Do you have any dentists in the family?
My sister's a dentist. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my sister's dentist. Yeah. So she does gums. She likes periodontal.
Oh, right. Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Does she work for Bond?
No. She wants to.
Yeah.
And we may get her on. I think we need her help now. We've got quite a few clinics. But she works in Surrey.
Okay.
So yeah. So she works as a kind of a special interest dentist. Yeah, in Perio.
Okay.
Yeah.
And mum and dad, what did they do? What was their?
So I grew up quite humble beginnings. So I grew up in a council house in Camden. Okay, yeah. So not wealthy at all. My father was in and out of jobs and stuff like that. Tried some businesses and it wasn't successful. And he told me essentially very simple, kind of, you got to work, otherwise you end up in the gutter. Simple as. So I think that's kind of spurred me on to really kind of push this and actually sometimes go faster than some of my peers that might have kind of like kept it kind of, simple. But I made sacrifices, and stuff like that. And I chose to do that. So, when people say, oh, this is my choosing,
So I remember one of our earliest conversations, you said, Shaz, I've had no silver spoon.
Yeah.
Wait, did you go private school?
No, I went to a state school just in Camden, so local comprehensive. But I think that's actually kind of built me and my personality because you converse with different people from walks of life. And you get to meet people from all around the world and you can adapt. And I think that's the one thing, especially, Londoners, we can adapt to different people and different situations, which I love. Sometimes we love other situations. We like to be around other people at certain times. Yeah. But then other times it's kind of like an interesting experience and you've got to have those experiences, to kind of grow and know how to adapt. Honestly, it's amazing being in London.
You're quite streetwise. You know how to deal with all kinds of people. I see when you supplies as well.
Yeah.
And when you called me in 2018, before you bought your first practice, when I received that call, I felt this guy is extremely passionate, and he is going to be super successful.
Yeah.
And one thing I've always noted about you is that you'll outwork anyone.
Yeah.
If you've ever messaged me, sometimes they're 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 at night.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Other suppliers have told me you message them late.
Yeah.
So what's that about? Like you work all hours.
I think it's like a super focus and stuff. So because obviously I'm working clinically, so I still practice as a dentist, but also have to manage the business. And there's lots of things I do. I've even now just had WhatsApp web. Like WhatsApp web is a game changer, isn't it? Like it's mental. Like yeah. So so I've got WhatsApp web now. Well, I'm working clinically as well, in between patients and things like that. So managing things between practices and talking to managers, TCOs, directors, and things like that. So essentially, working late for me, if I have the energy, I will do it because I'm thinking, right, this is going to help me the next day and the next day and the next day and set things in motion. And you're just building structure. But I enjoy it. So the thing is, if you enjoy it, okay, then do it. And that's what's helped me grow. I think enjoying it is the main thing. And you'll do well, I think.
Most people tend to switch off at 5, 6 p.m.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to go home. Do you think your upbringing or how dad was perhaps in his work ethic has made you like this today?
I think so. I think definitely. Look, I wanted to do well. I wanted to have money in my pocket. I wanted to make sure I'm comfortable. Okay, yeah. And I think most people do. But I look at the value add at the end of the day and anything. So even if you're really wealthy and, you've had a good upbringing, things like that, I look at not where you were, where you are now. And the value add to me is that, so wherever you come from. So when I have associates come, they've had, private school, they've, silver spoon, but their work ethic is amazing. I respect that. So for me, it's all about work ethic. And I think that there is loads of missed opportunities and people have so much potential and stuff, that I just think we need to tap into, we need to excite them. And I think going back to your question about why are you working till 12, it's because I'm excited. When we've got locations where we've got them, they just excite me. Do you know what I mean?
That's your dream come true, because you did say to me quite early on, I've got Marylebone, it'd be great to have. Why don't you tell us your locations? Where are the locations?
So we're located in Marylebone, I'd say Mayfair now, so that's our new location.
Congrats.
Yeah, King's Cross, Notting Hill, Kensington. So quite primarily, we've got the Monopoly. Monopoly board.
Monopoly board.
Yeah. We should do a Bond Monopoly board at some point, hey?
It's interesting because you said you touched on money.
Yeah.
But I've known that you're not a flashy guy.
Yeah.
You don't really speak about money when we speak. So money is probably a motivator, but I don't think that's your primary motivator. Tell me about what Bond stands for as a practice.
So I essentially wanted to create a sexy practice, okay? And what I mean by that, a practice where people excited to go to work for, to work in, and that's what I want, an experience, patient journey, and that's what everyone should aspire to do in any sort of industry. I think in the UK, the problem is when I was a kid and I was going to the dentist or the doctors, it was just not very nice, and it was just very, oh God, I don't want to go. But now you get young people that want to go to the dentist, but they want a nice experience. But we have got a patient base that essentially, or demographic, they're older, I would say 50s plus, that are used to a certain style, and that we're kind of changing things and explaining to them that this is the way we want to do things, and we want to do some really nice dentistry. Because if you look overseas, people are doing some amazing stuff. And I think in the UK, I'm going to be very honest, the NHS has created a bit of a box for a lot of dentists and healthcare professionals, and they're just stuck in that box. So it's conditioning. And the UK is known for conditioning. We're conditioned all over and stuff, and what we do, pay loads of tax, we must follow this, that. And I think that we follow rules, but we also want to grow. And I think that's what I wanted to create with Bond. I wanted to make it really powerful. And obviously having the location, the branding, all this sort of stuff, it has presence, and this is what I'm about. And I'm realizing that now my focus is to inspire other people to join me in growing that and stuff, and make sure focus on high quality, comprehensive care. So doing some nice stuff, and being proud of the work you do, not being, go home, I want to go do something else,
Yeah. And one thing you said to me quite early on, after you bought Marylebone, you said, look, if the clinical dentistry is not 10 out of 10, no marketing is going to work. I was like, Kev, I agree with that. And do you still live by that?
Yeah, 100%. You asked me why I'm staying late and stuff, because I'm clinically working. I love my dentistry. I love it and stuff. So doing some amazing things. I'm passionate. So it needs to be good, and you need to, but there's a balance. I think a lot of people go on courses, and I love that. There's these course junkies. I'm not a course junkie. I've done courses and I have courses. But then also I think going into practice and actually making the mistakes and learning from those mistakes and knowing, how to grow from that point and stuff is important. So field testing, I've done loads of field testing. You go in and you do it, and you kind of work it out, and practice makes perfect. And that's what I'm about. So I think doing all those hours helps and stuff. Sometimes I'm like, I've taken 2 days off. Do I remember how to do that? Because I'm like, have I forgot it?
And you've stayed away from the limelight for a long time. I think you don't like the limelight. You don't want to talk about yourself. You don't want to come on podcasts or write articles. And that's been deliberate. You've stayed out there when a lot of dentists who've achieved a fraction of your success, let's face it, jump to that kind of thing. What's that about?
So I think to stay humble. I think dentists get a bad press generally. I mean, in the UK, we're seen obviously money hungry, fancy cars, flashy cars, and I don't want to be about that. I want to be people saying, wow, like, how have you achieved that? What have you built? You know, and that's what it should be about. Obviously, we love nice things. Yeah, we all do. But, you know, there are some people that are not as fortunate, that maybe not as driven, and they may not have achieved. And everyone, sometimes there's a bit of luck. I'm going to be honest. There has to be an element of luck to some of this as well. But I think it's just saying humble and respecting yourself and other people. But also, you don't want... I have a bit of imposter syndrome. Okay, yeah. Sometimes I'm a bit like, something can happen. Someone take this away and stuff. So I think coming from my background, okay, where I have had basically, and stuff, growing up where I've grown up and stuff, and now it's great. What I've achieved is more than generations and stuff, and like not just owning practices, but owning buildings and properties in the West End and stuff. It's just really powerful. But I just think it's important that people understand that it's come from graft and hard work, and I want people to see that rather than see the flashy stuff, because I think if people see that, they're just going to be like, you know what, that's not cool, you know what I mean? And that's not really that's not me.
I love that. People are probably wondering, because there's a lot of people out there that just about managed to get their first practice, and it's really difficult to keep practice running. Compliance, staff, recruitment, marketing, and you're on your fifth one now, and it just feels like you've got when you got your second one, then third, fourth, fifth, every so often we get caught buying another one. How have you scaled from 1 to 5?
Okay, so do you like McDonald's on a cheat day, right?
Let's say
But essentially, do you find the burgers and the everything is consistent, and stuff? Like, I find that
wherever you go,
wherever you go, McDonald's is consistent. Whereas if you go to other sort of franchises and stuff, it's sometimes it's not consistent and stuff. So I like to have structure and consistency with anything I do, and anyone I take on board needs to realize there needs to be, you follow the SOP, the standard operating procedure, and that's what I'm about. And sometimes it doesn't work. I've got some dentists which we've just recently taken over a new clinic, and it might not be suited to them, or they need to be on board with it. So I basically have managed to create kind of a system in place, and I replicate it. Now, obviously, thankfully, the clinics aren't too far from each other. I mean, it's central London, but thankfully it's London, transient population, dense population, so it's worked. And obviously the numbers speak for themselves, and we've grown because of hard work. So I feel like I work 7 days a week. I call clinical work more work days and stuff. So I work 4 days a week. I used to work 5. I work 4 now. I've got down to 3. But ultimately, and I like to stay doing clinical work, but then I'm also working on, admin and all this sort of stuff, marketing, things like that on the side as well.
And obviously you've recruited quite a lot of dentists, because you can't be at 5 locations.
Loads.
There's a lot that are part of your team that they're just part of the furniture now. But there's so many that you've recruited that no longer work at Bond. What would you say about who isn't a good fit as an associate at Bond Dental?
Okay, so
starting with work ethic, perhaps.
So work ethic, I think people need to, and dentist owners, I'm sure they'll agree, is they have to build a list and build a patient base. It doesn't come overnight. And I always say to people, where do you want to build a list? Do you want to build a list in somewhere you don't want to be part of, or do you want to build a list in a place with great branding, great marketing, great support, and an amazing location, internationally known? That's what you want to look at and stuff. And if you want to build that, it takes time and organic. If you are looking for the quick fix, like I want to, be earning, X amount of money tomorrow and stuff, then that's not kind of the person for me. And I also want someone that's dedicated. I even allow them to come in and see my clinicians work, see my specialists. Well, I've got specialists, prosthodontists. We've got specialist team in our group, and see some of our dentists. One of my amazing now, I mentioned his name, Dr. Charlie Steer. Come in and watch him work, do his bonding. Come in to see me do consoles, do veneers and things like that. See that for free, and you get that. And I think that's why being part of a group is great. That's great, but you need to actually make that effort. But I appreciate, some people are not as driven as I am, and I've got to take that on board as well. Other people, they have their lives and things like that, so I get that as well. And that's something I'm taking on board, understanding not everyone thinks the same as me. And I think that's where scaling is a little bit harder. So everyone's will think, how do you scale? How do you grow? And it's very hard sometimes.
So do you think dentists sometimes want to work for Bond Dental because they think, wow, their presence is incredible? You open Facebook, you see an ad, you walk down the high street, they're there. this is going to be easy for me. There must be so much work coming in. I don't need to. The
Oh.
work will be handed
Yeah,
to me.
no. It's nothing like that. I think you have to work at it and stuff. And I need to see that you can actually, you can have the ball thrown at you, but you need to hit the ball for 6, and stuff. Yeah. And I need to make sure that you can deliver, and you can deliver that work, and, build that patient, journey, and make sure the patient's happy. And then, it's like a spider web and stuff. So, but also the other thing, sometimes dentists think that the lists should be full of, how the NHS has just made it like, oh, you should have 30 a day patient. That's just mental. Like, I would never want that, even like, yeah, I would not want that. So it's just making them understand that it's building a relationship with that patient and making sure that you are comprehensive in your approach and stuff. Yeah. And then if the patient is not conducive to that, is just talk to the patient and just like how we're having a conversation. So what is it that you want and stuff? Yeah. And I think that it's become too transactional, dentistry. Yeah. It needs to be about building relationship. And I always mention this. I've mentioned this many times when I speak to people, is trust and time. And if it takes, time to build that trust, isn't it? And stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you need to have those soft skills.
And an interesting thing about you that I've noticed is that you're not super competitive. It's almost like you're competing with yourself. You never speak to me about other practices.
Yeah.
You never say, I want to take over them or this.
Yeah.
You're only focused on Bond. And many dentists I speak to, they're always referencing another practice, but you never do that.
So I don't look at Instagram. I'm being honest, I don't. Okay, yeah. So once Kamal, my wife, said to me, "Oh, you know what? You're always like on your phone," and then I was like, "Okay, well, look at my kind of like spiral. What's it like?" And majority was on emails and WhatsApps, yeah, and stuff, yeah. And I said to her, I don't look at social media. I don't. And that's one thing that I'm proud of and stuff, yeah, because it's very easy. But I think maybe if I do get into it, it'll probably become addictive, like anyone. But I think I don't have that looking at other people. I don't find that like helpful. I actually think sometimes it can be quite bad for all of us. We're all human. We can look at it and we can compare and stuff. So I think I can become like that and stuff. But I just don't. It's not my name. It's to be inspired by the people. So like some great times. So I mentioned, Sensu, like, Krabal, he's my lovely friend. We go for dinner, we catch up and stuff. And he's a competitor, like Sensu and stuff.
Yeah.
Great, amazing group. So essentially it's learning from other people and just how we grow. And I think if we work as a team, actually, we can actually do well, because you don't know what the future holds and stuff with, all these dental clinics and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's about forming a group and stuff, and being, working as a team.
So when you acquired Mayfair recently, I got a WhatsApp from someone that I introduced you to a long time ago. And he's a marketer, but you don't work with him.
Yeah.
And he said, Kev has come really far. Hats off to him. He's even got Mayfair.
Yeah.
And it was more like a question that how is he on his 5th branch? He only started 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I wrote one line to him.
Yeah.
Kev will outwork anyone, full stop.
Yeah.
And I think that is how I know you. Like, for you to message at a random hour in the middle of the night, I just get it now that this is also part of you, that you work very hard.
Yeah.
But how has that impacted personal life? Because you got 2 kids now.
Yeah.
When you started, you just got married, I think. Well, tell me about that.
Yeah. So I've had to make sacrifices. So essentially, I don't see my kids as much as maybe a father does or should do. But I'm changing, okay, but I'm building something for them. And I know a lot of people would say that, but I do need to focus on something that I need to work on. I'm going to be very honest and stuff. But I'm doing things in a good, positive way and stuff. How I'm building my brand and building my, my one would say empire and stuff. And obviously, it's potentially one day it's for them, But yeah, it's trying to manage my time now. So spending time with my family, so my wife and my kids, and as they're growing, they want to spend more time with me right now, and later they were. So yeah, that's the thing that I need to kind of work on. I'm being very honest. So that's why I'm cutting down my days. But it's stressful, and it can get very, very tough sometimes and stuff. Like trying to. I do Mondays and I go and pick up Kian and I take him to like tennis, and those are fun things. And now what I do is like I put my phone on airplane mode. So then, like, I shut off and stuff. So
wow,
that's
going really far.
Yeah. Exactly.
Silent.
So I just do it because it's just important that because it's very easy to just jump back on your phone and you're like, oh, stressed. Because I describe basically running businesses as a bit like walking down the street and having baseball bats like every every second at you and stuff. Yeah, there's something that comes in, so nothing phases me now and stuff. Yeah, there could be a leak in the practice. The card machine, just before I came here, the Mayfair, the card machine wasn't working. The card machine doesn't work. Shit, you're like, you can't take payments. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what? But no, if calm, we thought of different ways. We were like, okay, we work
lively.
Yeah, no. But you've got a thing on your feet, like, you got your mobile phone. We've got our, thankfully, we've got a system which is great, like Tabeo and stuff. I'm name dropping.
Yeah.
But sorry. But where you can just like, but for an hour or two, we were just doing that and it was fine though. But it's just manage it. But sometimes your staff member might not know that, and you're like, shit, okay, like, and then like those little things can be managed, and you're like, oh, it's annoying, but that's why you've got to be there. And then that mistake leads to improvement. So what I'm saying to you is mistakes. Everyone should know this. You should make as many mistakes.
Mistake is a gift, right?
Yeah, mistake is a gift, like, and stuff. And I'm going to be making more mistakes. Yeah. So, like I said, mistakes come to me, because then you learn. But it's making sure that you learn from those mistakes, not kind of like be like,
So going back to the kids, you go on airplane mode instead of silent. So you're not seeing any notifications. Is that because you want to be really present with them? Is that something you've learned that's important?
This is only a recent thing, okay? Yeah. But essentially I need to be and stuff, because I'm seeing that they want more time with me and stuff, and sometimes I get video calls and stuff like that. So, and it's it's sad, isn't it? Because like I'm with the patient, and they see me, so I want them to, because I know past 6, 7, they're gonna want to kind of go, oh, I'm gonna go with my mates, so just leave me alone, sort of thing. So I want to make sure that I'm there. So I definitely, sports I love. As a kid, like my dad took me to like tennis, football, whatever. So I do that for Kean. So tennis and football. The other thing is, obviously I live in London, and it's nice. It's not too far, so commuting, so it's not too bad. So I've made my setup nice and stuff. But I just look, my main aim is to make sure that I'm comfortable, but I'm inspiring others, and we all grow together, because in this life, we all want to do well. Yeah, we all want to. There's no hiding of that. Yeah, but we need to make sure that we don't make people fear approach. I don't want people to, this is the one thing, I don't want people to think that I'm not approachable. I don't like that sort of, because I think there are some people in the industry that I think that are very present on social media that have made themselves feel like they're inaccessible. Inaccessible. And that should not be the way. I want people to come to me and ask me all silly questions and stuff like that. That's the way it should be. And that's how, and then like, just silently, you can reap the reward, you make the money, you're building, like your assets and stuff.
Yeah. And your social media is insane. The way it looks and the way it's put together. I know
thanks to my amazing team.
Some of your team are here today. That's quite inspiring. I feel like you can take any part of your business and turn it into a beast. From your marketing to the interior to your operations. Is that obsession? Do you get obsessive about elements of the business?
I think I do. I think the team will agree. I'm like messaging them. I do calls all the time. This can change this little thing, this thing. I don't like this. But I've definitely delegated, like the website now, like we're updating it, like pass that on to them. But obviously I will sign off and things like that. I'll be looking at. But I think it's important. But I think as I'm growing, I'm learning that I can't do everything. So I've got to know that I am, human, and I make mistakes, and I can become forgetful in things and important things. So I think that's why it's using your team and inspiring them. And that's what I wanted. When I created Bond, I wanted people to be inspired to grow with me, because it can become something really powerful. And people look at capital and like, you need money, and you should do, but you need to start small and you aim big and stuff like that. But I think having our locations, and I'll go back to that, because I know it's a nice thing we're proud of, it helps, and stuff, because people then go, wow, this is a state, you know what I mean, and stuff, So I mean, I was looking up the other day, like, like bloody Mayfair is more expensive than Beverly Hills. Crazy, isn't it?
Really?
Yeah. How mad is that? I was like, well, really? Okay. But it's just that kind of presence it has, in the world, and I think that's really important and stuff. So who knows where Bond goes? Hey.
Well, you've certainly come close to your dream from that phone call that we had, having a branch in Mayfair. I remember when you were in Marylebone, we were doing SEO for Mayfair. Now you've actually got a practice in Mayfair. So what's next for the Bond Group?
Okay, so we are some of our practices we are redesigning. So we're doing it. So in Mayfair, it's running, but we're actually redesigning it. So we took another floor out. So we've got 3 floors in Mayfair, which is amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so prime location, prime.
It's on Moulton Street, right?
South Moulton
South
Street.
Moulton
Yeah,
Street.
where all the flags are, all the fancy.
Right next to Claridge's.
Yeah, not far.
Yeah.
And then essentially,
Brad Pitt was there yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was he? Oh, why? He should have popped into Bond Dental. He needed to chip a tooth, isn't it? No, but essentially like making them look nicer, and I think improving the interiors and certain things we want to do. One of my oldest practices as well in Marylebone, we are also moving to a new site, and we're actually kind of redesigning that. So I want to make sure that I focus on these.
Yeah.
And also focusing on my personal brand as well, just making sure people are a little bit more aware of me and stuff. Yeah. Okay. And then essentially I want to make sure that people are inspired by my ideas and they come on board with us, and I want to grow this group and stuff. And I think dentistry needs this, because there's lots of people with buying practices and squats and things like that, and they chip away at obviously bigger groups and things like that, which is good. But the reality is it needs to be sustainable, and it's tough. Okay.
Yeah.
And the NHS is failing, simple as, I don't like hide behind that. Okay. NHS is struggling. Yeah. And it's crazy how it's people are still going with the NHS. You need to do, private dentistry now. You need to do private dentistry. Practices need to do private dentistry. But you need to make sure that you have the right clientele, the right marketing, all these things. Yeah. And so, and I think the UK public are so used to NHS dentistry, but we need to start changing the mindset to people to realize about comprehensive care and the cost of dentistry, People don't realize the cost. I mean, it's crazy. We're in like Mayfair, and still like some people are expecting, so NHS sort of prices and things like that. But we have that and stuff, But I want to improve that. Okay, I want to change the mindset. And that's how you do it, by making sure there's good marketing, present, explaining more time on appointments, and we have systems in place. So it's just, those are things I want to work on. But the one thing that we've started is this amazing service called bond whitening, which is a service. And I like to explain it, it's a service. A lot of patients that are not used to cosmetic dentistry, kind of shy away. But one thing they may want to do is whiten their teeth. And I thought, if you go and buy designer clothes or something like that, or you might get a full outfit. But there's some people that don't do it, but they may opt for maybe getting one thing designer and stuff, but that's affordable. So I created this brand called Bond Whitening, and I wanted it to be something where everyone can buy it and it's affordable. So I created Bond Whitening, and it's an entry level to cosmetic dentistry, because before you do any cosmetic bonding, before you do any veneers or anything like that, any cosmetic, you always whiten your teeth and stuff. And it's something you can do and top up every, 3 months, every 6 months, and it's, it's affordable. So I basically have now created a service where you can go on a website and you can click on a button and order your Bond Whitening, and it's really inexpensive, like $295. You get whitening. You get to see a dentist, you get to see a clinician. And
at any of your locations?
Any of my locations, and you also get a clean with it. So we include a consultation, checkup, and whitening. And I want it to be affordable and accessible. And that is a great way to start that conversation to cosmetic dentistry, and you're getting consultation and people trusting us and stuff. So all these things are important. So they're touch points, because I realized that some people don't want to just jump out to cosmetic dentistry. I want veneers. I want bonding. They just want to do simple things like whitening and things like that. This is an entry level, to cosmetic dentistry. And there's many people out there. I used to have patients who would do NHS dentistry, but they would want a bit of whitening and stuff. They don't mind that. It's because it's affordable.
And you've done it properly. The packaging, the look, the feel, even the website. It looks the part. And what's the response been like?
No, it's been good. I mean, a lot of patients are now going, wow, this is something. I was wanting to go for my checkup and clean, but why not have whitening included as well? So it should become a part of it. A lot of my American patients, for example, they would do 6 monthly checkup, hygiene, and whitening. That is their routine and stuff, And that should be a routine for other people maybe and stuff, keeping their teeth, looking good as well.
And is the strength the same as the whitening that you were offering prior to Bond Whitening?
Yeah, so 16% carbamide peroxide, and that will whiten your teeth, and it's overnight whitening. I recommend night whitening because it's essential. You produce saliva. You don't produce saliva at night time, so it doesn't dilute the gel.
This price includes everything, the trays, everything.
Everything, the whole service, and you're seeing a clinician.
Fantastic.
And that's the one thing is about seeing a dentist, and not this kind of online business where you're kind of basically ordering stuff on your own, like, you know, and stuff. And I know that, but that's again marketing, and that's one hit wonders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Look, there's no profitability in that at that price.
Yeah.
But it's about getting people into the bond ecosystem. They get a feel for what bond is about.
Totally. And I think that's important. Touch points and stuff. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So just going back a little bit to life balance. Yeah. Kev messaged, Como messaged me and said, you need to get Kev to work a little bit less. That was a few years ago. So how is that going for you?
I'm working on it. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. And it's something I think cutting down my days, sorting out my kind of like timetables, you know, essentially I want to look to AI to help me as well with a lot of things. And that's what I want to automate. Sometimes I you know, everyone wishes they could be at two places at once, or you know, that could be you in that consultation doing that. So that's what I think AI is going to change.
What could AI solve for you?
I mean, a lot of owners would love for them to be the dentist in that chair, but then them sitting on, you know, at a beach, you know, like, you know, doing that. But they wish they were doing that consultation. So if you could kind of replicate, you know, what you're doing, your SOP and stuff, but have that done with AI. I mean, even just from a phone conversation, you know, that would be amazing. So I think utilizing AI. So I'm definitely going to more kind of courses about AI and learning how it's going, because you want to be ahead of the curve. And I think patient base that I have, young demographic, 20s to kind of 50s, they respect that sort of stuff, you know. And I think, you know, like how we book online and how, you know, automations and things like that come into play. They respect that sort of stuff. So I think that's what's going to help me with my time management and things like that. But even my kind of emails and managing those things, they're using AI. But yeah, something I'm working on. I need to work on everything. Like, you know, I'm trying to work on my health at the moment. I'm reading this book. I'm not reading. My wife's reading it for me. Yeah. I need to. Do you do audiobooks? Yeah. See, I need to get into that and stuff. But also when I'm driving, I'm doing calls as well. You know, to supplier, to contractor, to a dentist, to a nurse, to something's happened, and stuff. So I need to really manage.
Well, actually, what do you delegate?
So I do. I have a managing director. I have some managers on. I have managers under her, and I have nurses. But I have staff and team that understand what I'm about. I'm no nonsense. I am. And it's cutthroat. It's like, if you don't show work ethic, we're lucky in London. London, we've got, and I feel bad for some places in the UK, man, because, you know, we've got it's the brain drain to London. Do you know what I mean? It's
the most competitions here as well.
Yeah.
So
it's balancing act.
That's why you focus on brand building then, instead of being just another dental practice.
Totally. Yeah. So essentially, they know how I operate, and we get CVs all the time and stuff like So every day, I have a folder that I put all the CVs in. So I never delete that when someone says, "Oh, I want to." I just put them in there and save that for, you know, as they say, a rainy day. You know, and stuff. So we've got always people that's coming through. But I just look at work ethic, and the one thing I look at as well is attitude. Attitude is so important. I don't care that you don't know how to do something. We will teach it. But if your attitude is right, that can work and stuff. Yeah. I think too many people in the world now focus on the way you look and the way. I think it's all about attitudes and respect, and you grow. I had one girl, and she's my nurse, then my therapist, and now she's a dentist at my clinic, and the growth is amazing, and she's doing really well, and she just wants to grow more and more. And she said to me the other day, so I remember when I first came and I was a nurse, I said, I want to work as a dentist in your clinic. You know, that's amazing, isn't it? Amazing feeling.
Yeah, that is amazing. And do you feel that it's sometimes counterproductive to be so involved in so many things? Does it ever affect your stress levels and
I think I've realized that I'm a bit of a micromanager, and sometimes over picking at things can sometimes lead to more inflammation and stuff in there, and that's not good either. But there are some things that if I've not picked up on can be disastrous, and it's so important. So the other day I had to test a bot, and I had to be a patient and stuff. And I said, there's no one ever tested that bot yet in all ages. And I tested it. And I was like, that could have affected so many things.
I get
payment methods. But I'm on top of it, because you've got to think, I'm in central London. If people want to see how much money comes out of my account, it's mental. Cash flow is mad. So it's so important to keep on top of this and stuff. And I tell my staff, my whole team, they need to put themselves in my shoes and think, if you've got this happening, you would be the same. you would be, pulling your you'll be messaging, you'll be like, can you sort that a little bit out and stuff.
Yeah.
But I need to respect that other people's lives are different as well, and stuff, and their times and stuff like that. So it's important that sometimes you need to do things yourself as well, and I know some business owners that, just leave it to someone else to do. But I don't know where, maybe this is because of my background. I've come from like fuck all and stuff. Yeah. So I'm now like essentially, I need to do this because this is going to fail. Do you know what I mean? So that's me going to what we call survival mode. Do you know what I mean? And stuff. And that's a phrase I use a lot, survival mode and stuff.
Has anyone ever asked you, Kev, have you got ADHD?
Yes, I think I do.
You think?
Yeah, I do. I haven't got it diagnosed, but I think I do. And what they say, because my wife's a GP, is that you have a super focus. So something you're super passionate about, you have superpowers and do that. But when you don't give a shit about something, you don't give a shit about it. And that's the issue with ADHD, was you've got to struggle.
Well, all the self-help books say super focus on that thing. So it's probably a power.
Yeah, possibly and stuff. Yeah. So it's something that I think a lot of people have ADHD.
Yeah.
People, it's such a spectrum. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So, but it's about utilizing it in the right way. And also that's why having lists. So I do a lot of to-do lists and stuff that I keep that. And sometimes I can go off the to-do list, but you need that because sometimes you'll be dithering and just like not doing anything. And you're like, shit, I haven't done anything. It's been 2 freaking hours and I've just wasted. Then I've got to go back into clinic next day. I haven't done anything. And I'm just, so having that to-do list, say I must do that task, turn your phone off. So can you imagine if I was actually on Instagram, God knows what it would be like. So, So I think it's important that people know that they need some structure. Structure is key, isn't it?
Thank you, Kev. So you're unsuccessful.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you today, what does success mean to you?
Success means being comfortable, being happy, and inspiring others. I think those are my 3 things that I want to say that success is. Yeah.
Fantastic.
But inspiring others is something that I want and stuff, and hopefully I've achieved that in some way.
So when I call you back in 12 months, when you're on your 15th practice, I'll ask you this again.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully it might not be in the UK. It might be somewhere else. Who knows?
I think there's a hint drop there, a little clue. Thank you, Kev. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thanks for listening to Successful, Depth, Not Display. If today's conversation inspired you, please do subscribe and share with like-minded people. You can discover more about our guests on successful.dental. I'm Shaz Memon, and I'm passionate about helping practices rank organically on Google to attract high-intent patients. At Digimax, we use 20 years of proven SEO strategy rooted in patient psychology to make that happen. We're also known for our patient conversion machine websites, not just beautiful, but engineered to turn more visitors into patients, using everything we've learned over 2 decades. I'd also love to introduce you to Dental Bio. With Dental Bio, you can build your personal brand by sharing where you work, write blogs and articles, showcase your reviews, add links, your transformations, and more. Everything you need to build your personal LinkedIn Bio website all in one place. Get started for free. Just visit dental.bio. And if you'd like to support my charity powered by the incredible UK dental community, visit wellsonwheels.co.uk or search No Waterland on Prime Video or Apple TV to watch the documentary. I'm Shaz Memon. Until next time, remember, success isn't just a result, it's a feeling. It's fulfillment, contribution, growth, connection, and being true to yourself. Real success is lived from the inside out. For me, it's about depth, not display. Thank you.